It is my empire. Drees, we're back with another video, and today we back doing another ESO prediction tier list. Now, if you don't know what an ESO prediction tier list is, I think it's something I made up. You feel me? Because I ain't never seen nobody do this. But it's basically I'm gonna predict um, where the classes are gonna be at for Blackwood, where how they're gonna be ranked for Blackwood, based on the PTS Blackwood patch notes, based on all the the buffs to the nerfs to proc sets, and the nerf to certain other sets, and buffs to no based just basically based off the Blackwood PTS patch notes. I'm basically gonna do this tier list. Um and yeah. Uh Before we get into it, man, I want to ask y'all to hit the like button, subscribe, join the empire. You already know we just hit 200 subscribers. Um I really appreciate all the love and support y'all shown on the channel. Let's keep going. Let's keep grinding, man. And you already know. I love all the love. I love all the support. Come on now. Like I just said it, I gotta say it again. Dang, like I got acting like the grind ain't real. We out here. Dre's the empire out here. You feel me? Nah, but I appreciate y'all, and let's get into it, man. So let me explain the tiers first. So S tier means that the class is gonna overperform. A tier means that the class is good. They're not overperforming, but they're not underperforming. B is that the class is okay. They do okay in certain situations, but they're not really the best overall. But they do good in certain situations. And C is they're underperforming. They're doing worse than every other class. So let's do this. Let's make this quick, and let's go, because I don't want this video to be too long. So first, Mag Warden. Mag Warden, putting it at B. Mag Warden has high mobility. Um, uh, Based on what I see in the PTS about patch notes, Mag Warden is not really getting touched in terms of abilities, but Mag Warden has been for a long time really squishy. In my opinion, open world PvPs. Um, and yeah, they've been squishy. They do have a lot of burst. They do have a lot of high mobility. They do have healing, but I still feel like overall they're squishy, and they don't do they don't have enough ockiness to do the burst they need to get somebody out the way. If you get what I'm saying. Uh, and yeah, that's what I feel. Um, but before we continue, I just want to say that this tier list is basically going to be a combination of all forms of PvP. So, group plays, solo play, and duo play. This is going to be a just like how the class is doing overall with all of those things in mind. I forgot to say that in the beginning. All right. Mag DK. I'm putting Mag DK at B as well. The thing about Mag DK, um, is they're too squishy. They're glass cannons. They're too squishy, but they do a lot of damage. But being able to do a lot of damage is really bad when you're squishy. It's because yeah, you could do a lot of damage, but if you're not able to survive while doing that damage, then what's the point? Mag DK is not really getting any buffs or nothing. And in Blackwood. I've probably only seen like one thing about Mag DK and the Blackwood Passional. Not Mag DK, but DK in general. I think I seen one of their abilities. Something's happened to one of their abilities, which it was probably not that big because I don't remember exactly what it was. But you know what I mean. But overall, I feel like Mag DK is still going to be at the same place they were. Um, or the same place they are right now, because for Kanto we're still in Flames of Ambition, and yeah, they're too squishy. They have a lot of high damage, but they're too squishy. They can't sustain um while doing the damage they need to do. So B. Uh, Stamina Templar. I'm actually gonna put in A. Um, uh, Overall, Templars are getting a buff to their healing. They're getting percentage heals in their ruin focus. That and they're actually going to get more resources um from their ruin as well. I think they're overall going to get performance increase, which is something that Templars really needed because the Templars were at a bad spot. Um, even right now they're not in the best spot. You know what I mean? Just because of you know just because of what it was it called Greymore nerfing healing and nerfing protections, which basically that's all a Templar is healing and protection. So you nerf protections and you nerf healing, which is basically that's a Templar's thing. That's what they're known for is the healing protection. You basically have a class that's nerf that's doing bad since what they have is nerf. But with this new healing, this new percentage healing, and more resources, which I feel like that's something Templars needed too. Because yes, Templars do have one of the best abilities for resources, but at the same time, jabs are cheap, but they're not cheap enough where you can use them too consistently and not notice the hit to your resources. So the extra resources I feel like is something that Templars really needed. So I'm putting them at an A. Same thing with Magplar, putting them at A. Uh, yeah, basically generally the same thing. I think the healing aspect is going to be greater on Magplar because a lot of people run Argonian for Magplar and stuff like that. So I feel like it's going to be greater on Magplar. You could run Vampire. If you pair Vampire with Magplar and you're gonna have the Ruin Focus giving you those heals, you basically not gonna feel the health recovery debuff for Vampire just because that you having so much raw healing now with the new buff. So A for Stamplar and Magplar. Now uh Maxorg, I'm putting that A. Maxorg has fell from rank. Um if this was Markov, they would definitely be at S. But Flames of Ambition, um, they dropped down to A. I haven't seen any real buffs to Max Sork. Anything really that's gonna impact people a lot. Um, yeah, with the problem with Max Sork, really right now is the same problem that DK has, which basically is they're too squishy right now. Um, Shields are really, really butt right now. They're really garbage. Shields go down way too quickly now. It's like 1 second you have a shield on, the next second the shield is completely gone. Um, yeah, shields are really really bad right now. But the difference between Stam DK, I mean not Stam DK, Mag DK and Mag Sork is that Mag Sork has high mobility due to streak and due to the expeditions they get for buffing their resistances. So that's really what sets these two apart. That's really mobility is really what puts Mag Sork over Mag DK. It's just the mobility because believe it or not, uh, mobility mobility is kinda in a way a form of defense, especially in ESO, because ESO sometimes is really wonky, especially with light and heavy attacks. Where if you have somebody with high mobility and that's just like circling around you and stuff like that, chances are you're like if you're running like a melee weapon, it's going to be really hard for you to hit your light and heavy attacks and some of your abilities as well. So mobility transfers kind of a lot to defense as well. You know what I mean? Because the people are not going to be hitting you with their ability. So that's why I'm saying mobility. That's why I'm putting Max or at A just for mobility. They do have a lot of damage as well. They do have some of the best burst damage in the game as well. No question. Same. That's why I'm saying they're in the same boat. A lot of damage, glass cannon, but this one is a faster glass cannon, basically. Uh, Mag Nightblade. I'm putting Mag Nightblade in S. Uh, no. Hmm. I'm putting Mag Nightblade in A. Uh, if we were talking about bombers, I would put bombers in S. But proc sets are getting a nerf, so maybe bombers are gonna start getting nerfed in open world PvP, where they can bomb you even with your resources, your resistance is up and all your buffs up and everything. I feel like maybe they're gonna get nerfed with the proc set nerf. Um, but a normal Magicka Nightblade, they're really good. They still have a lot of burst, and they're bulky as heck too. With shadowy cloak, not shadowy cloak. The morph that gives you healing, and they run regeneration, stuff like that. They have soul tether and all of that. Overall, they have a lot of bulk, and they have a lot of burst damage. We know with assassin's will and all that. So, um, and what's it called? Shadowy image is really good too. Shadowy image is really good for kiting. Uh, it puts maim on your enemies, which basically is basically an ability that activates a Shadow Ren, which is a monster set. It's basically you basically have Shadow Ren in one of your abilities, um, but you could teleport to the shadow. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I feel like they're gonna be an A. Now, Stam Crow, I feel like Stam Crow is gonna be an A as well. Even though, like I said, proc sets is getting nerfed, and I feel like Stam Crow is really depend on proc sets a little bit more than other classes. I feel like they're still gonna be good. I feel like other they can make other things work for them, such as like uh ticks. I feel like Stam Crows can make ticks work for them, just because they do get an extra 15% tick damage in their passives. Um, you can even make crit work for Stam Crows as well if you really wanted to. They do have a lot of damage with blighted blast pones and stuff like that. Um, and then what really makes me not put them in B or C tier is just their godlike sustain. Their healing overall is insane. Um, Spearmender is really, really good. Taking some of the damage that's dealt to you onto the Spearmender, that's really crazy. Um, you have the Tether, which gives you a crazy heal and crazy stamina. You know what I'm saying? Overall, Stamcrow, the reason I put in Stamcrow at A is just for that amazing sustain. You feel me? They have enough sustain to do the damage they need to do, however they want to do that damage. Stam DK, I'm a mm, I'm gonna put an A. The reason I was debating putting it at B was because Ring of Malakath brutality or Band of Brutality is actually getting nerfed. Like instead of a 25 damage increase, it's a 16% damage increase, and instead of it taking away your crit, you do 50% less crit damage. But even so, even with that nerf, the ring is still broken 100%. Like I said in one of my last videos, with the nerf, that nerf, what it's basically doing is making a super overpowered item into a super overpowered item. Just taking one of the supers out, but it's still super overpowered at the end of the day. For build for especially Stam DKs who run like 11% crit, that you know that crit debuff is basically nothing to them. That's basically not doing anything for them, anything to them. So what basically Ring of Brutality is doing for the Mag DK and Blackwood is basically just giving them a 60% damage increase, which is not as good as the old one was did 25, but it's still overpowered at the end of the day. Mag DK as a class is really good too. They have a lot of healing, have a lot of sustain, have some of the best damage in the in their abilities. Their takes hit hard, take flight hits hard. Um, or no, not take flight. Dragon leap. Wait, is I think it's take flight for the other morph. For the physical morph, take flight hits hard. You spam uppercut. You can even run a dot build too. You don't even need to run you know a ring of brutality build if you want. Even though that's the most popular one, you can run a dot poison build with a crit. Um, you can do whatever you want. Stem DK is really versatile. Then if you want, mobility, you can either run race against time, or if you run in dual build, you can run blade cloak. So at the end of the day, um, I feel like they're gonna be good in Blackwood. So not too bad, not too good. So I'm gonna keep them at it. I'm gonna put them at it. Uh, Stamina Sorcerer, I'm gonna put at A as well. Stam Sorc, um, high mobility, due to streak and hurricane and stuff like that. Uh, Pretty good damage. They have some of the best, the highest hitting basic attacks in the game. Um, Yeah, they have some of the best, not basic attack, light attacks in the game due to bound arraignments and I said arraignments, bound armaments. I think that's how it's called, bound armaments and crystal weapon. I feel like with those two abilities, they have some of the best light attacks in the game. Like I said, high mobility. They do. I don't like. A problem I have with Stam Sorc, and I feel like a lot of people have with Stam Sorc is keeping up your resistance, but your resistant buff. Um, Hurricane only lasts for 15 seconds, which is basically like no time. It's basically coming off your body like a little bit too soon. I feel like Hurricane should maybe be buffed to 20 seconds. Um, they have a lot of recoveries, you feel me? A lot of resource recoveries. They don't have the best sustain and they don't have the best burst damage, but you know what I mean? Not the best burst damage, but they have a lot of, light attack damage. You can even say they have a lot of burst damage as well. But um, Ring of Brutality's effect does kind of affect Stam Sorc, even though running crit on a Stam Sorc is not bad either, because with crit surge give you heals every time you crit. Um, so I don't know. I feel like there's still going to be a good mobility, decent sustain, and a lot of damage. I feel like they're going to be an A. Stam Warden, I'm putting Stam Warden at S. Um, Mainly due to the fact of uh mobility. They have crazy mobility as well. Just like Actually, I feel like they have even more mobility than Stam Sword. Cause yeah, Stam Sword have streak, but unless you're running like a magical hybrid build, chances are you're not gonna be spamming streak all that often on a Stam Sword. But with Stan Warden, you're having that major expedition buff is dirt cheap. The major expedition buff is dirt cheap. You have a cleanse on your body due to the squid that's the squid next to you, which is kind of sometimes it will cleanse some of the snares that's applied on you, making your mobility even stronger. Um, Then Stan Warden has some of the best bursts due to you know what I'm saying, uh the termites, I forget what it's called. They have some of the best bursts, some of the best mobility, and like I said, mobility do transfers to defense. And I don't know. I feel like when you go up against a Stam Warden is just able to pick people off. Even though you're chasing the Stam Warden, it's able to pick people off. Then when they need to sustain, they can sustain really well. They have a freeze that they can put around their body. They have a what's it called? Uh, they have a resistance buff that not only gives them the resistances, but they also gives them protections for a long time as well. Um, they have a whole bunch of other heals in their kit. They have a major expedition buff that also gives them minor berserk. So basically, with that major expedition buff, that Major Expeditions buff is basically better than Slime Crawl. You feel me? Basically, the equivalent to having Slime Crawl on. Basically the equivalent to having a monster set on with that one Major Expedition buff. So I feel like uh, Stem Warden is going to be an S, just like they are right now. Stem Warden has been good for a little bit of time, but if not an S, maybe I'm dragging it. Maybe they just an A. But to me, they're at S. I feel like people are gonna see why they're in that, but they might be an A as well. So A or S. All right, Stem Blade. I'm putting it at S. Stem Blade is really really good. Um, Especially Flames of Ambition, Stamina Nightblades have taken over. Nightblades have taken over Flames of Ambition. They have so much burst and so much sustain. It's actually absolutely crazy. Um, it's like Stamina Nightblades get it all. Uh, Burst, sustain, and mobility. They get it all. They don't fall off in any of those categories. Um, You know what I mean? The only three out of those three things I said, the only thing they probably lacking a little bit is sustain. But like I said, the mobility is kind of transfers to sustain in this game. So voila, you feel me? Stamina Nightblades has been really good, but especially with ball orgs. Ball orgs, you if you pair ball orgs with a Stamina Nightblade, oh, you have end cap. You're getting extra weapon damage with ball orgs. You're doing 20% more damage to the person you end cap, and with assassin scourge or whatever it's called, you're basically deleting that person. Just with that combination alone, you could take a person's entire health bar away. With you can one shot Magplars with that combination. You can one shot Mag Sorks with that combination, bro. It's absolutely insane. Um, yeah. Then what also is gonna like really puts um stand blades on top, you feel me? Because like I said, Blackwood proc sets are getting nerfed in Blackwood. Um, but that's really not something that's gonna apply to stand blades because stand blades never ran proc sets to begin with. They they were better off when proc sets wasn't meta, you know what I'm saying? Because they never ran proc sets to begin with. Proc sets is not the best on stand blade, you feel me? Stand blades really run sets like Spriggan, sets like Hunting's Rage, sets like Hawking Draga, sets like Bone Pirate, even though Bone Pirate is considered a proc set, which I don't know why. I mean, I guess because you need the food to proc it, but it's a set that doesn't. Bone Pirate is a set that you don't really need to proc in battle. You feel me? As long as you have food, you don't really need to proc it in battle. You know what I'm saying? So Stamina Nightblades has always been um no proc set kings. So now that proc set is getting nerfed, this is kind of like a passive buff to Stand Blades because they didn't run proc sets to begin with. So Stand Blades for sure is at S. There's no doubt in my mind that it's still gonna be at S in Blackwood. Um, yeah. And finally, we have macro. I'm putting at C. Macro. They're just bad right now. Like bad right now. Looking at the patch notes, it looks like they're gonna be bad, even worse. And Blackwood proc sets are getting nerfed, and I feel like the proc sets is the only thing that was keeping macro in the game. Um, the thing that's bad about macro is, say you have a max orc and a macro. The damage that a max orc does to somebody, a macro can do that damage, but it takes them a lot more to do that damage. Like if a max orc does like 1,000 damage with two abilities, it would take a macro four abilities to do that damage. If you get what I'm saying, um, that's how I feel. They have sustain. You know what I mean. A lot of people build macro, build sustain just to keep themselves up. They do have a lot of healing. Um, the way I feel like a lot of people play macro is like finesse damage. Finesse damage, in my opinion, is just basically like damage, like you cheat your way in. Like I don't know how to really explain it, but it has really something to do like proc sets. Like ring of brutality. Ring brutality is an example of finesse damage where you build full tank, then slap a ring of brutality on to finesse a little bit of damage. That's what I'm saying. Finesse damage is just like damage that you finesse in some way with proc sets or like mythic sets to where you're building extreme tank, but you have something on that makes you do decent amount of damage. That's what I feel a lot of macros do have on, but I don't know. It really doesn't work too well for them. Macros underperform in all sorts of open world PvP and or all forms of PvP. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. If y'all enjoyed, make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe, join the empire. You feel me? I feel like I did an accurate tier list. I feel like this is how it's gonna be. And Blackwood. When Blackwood comes out, I'm gonna wait a little bit. For somebody, I'm probably gonna do reaction to a tier list somebody has made that's been high or well received by the ESO community. Um, so I'll just probably do like a tier list from like somebody who's popular. Um, they make a tier list. A lot of people agree with it, and I'll see if my tier list matches up with that person's tier list. But yeah, uh, that's pretty much it. Dre's Empire out. I'm gonna see ya.